So, you flagged some interesting stuff for us about this firm, Dunn, Pierre, Barnett and Company, DPBG.
Mhm.
And we're going to take a deep dive into kind of what makes them tick and pull out some really crucial insights from their work,
Yeah,
focusing specifically on how they're analyzing human resource development and labor markets within Black communities.
absolutely. And you shared some excerpts that outline their mission,
Right.
the specific services that they provide, and details from some of their key research reports.
Yeah.
Our mission today is to really understand DPBG's unique approach,
Okay.
because they're not just looking at general HR trends. They bring a very specific and insightful lens to the table,
Yeah.
backed by a truly unique data set.
Right. DPPG doesn't strike me as like your run-of-the-mill HR consultancy. They've kind of carved out a very particular space for themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. What exactly is Dunn, Pierre, Barnett and Company at its core?
Well, fundamentally, they're a human resource development consulting and training firm.
Oh.
But that description doesn't really quite capture the depth of their work.
Right.
Their core focus really revolves around understanding and developing human capital, conducting really rigorous data science research, carrying out these detailed labor market and social surveys,
Okay.
and addressing very specific human resource development needs for organizations.
So they're not just offering like generic advice.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Their stated ambition is to develop innovative and creative solutions to really complex HR challenges
Right.
for companies and organizations that operate on a global scale.
Okay.
They were established with the specific goal of helping these entities navigate what are often very complex business and training landscapes we see today.
Right. And it sounds like they have a pretty sophisticated way of going about this.
Absolutely. They've put together a deep expertise in understanding the intricacies of labor markets
Yeah.
with strong statistical analysis capabilities. And importantly, they also leverage technology to drive digital transformation and ultimately enhance workforce success for their clients.
Now, one thing that really jumped out from the material was their quite unique approach to data collection.
Right.
They don't just gather information based on country boundaries, which is how many traditional statistical agencies operate.
That's a really critical point.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is this methodology of collecting data on individuals based on these universal standards set by the United Nations.
Okay.
Think of things like the International Standard Classification of Occupations,
Right.
or ISCO, a way to categorize jobs based on tasks and duties,
Yeah.
or the International Standard Industrial Classification, or ISIC codes, which categorize economic activities. They also align their data with the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs.
So instead of just saying, here's employment data for Canada, they can look at people in similar job roles or within the same industries, potentially across different nations?
Precisely, think of these UN standards as universal languages for categorizing jobs and industries.
Okay.
So instead of comparing apples to oranges across countries with different classification systems,
Right.
DPBG can truly compare individuals doing the same kind of work
Right.
or operating in the same sector, regardless of their location.
Gotcha.
This gives them a much more accurate picture of global trends for specific professions or industries within Black communities.
Okay.
And their aim is to provide very specific data that policymakers, governments,
Yeah.
and various industries can use to gain really targeted insights.
So insights into what specific aspects?
Primarily into labor market intelligence,
Okay.
really understanding the detailed workings of the job market,
Yeah.
as well as specific metrics like employment and unemployment rates, underemployment, educational attainment demographic shifts, career development patterns,
Right.
and the particular needs within vocational education and training.
It sounds incredibly focused.
Yeah.
And the material also mentioned that they're using some pretty advanced technology in this process.
Yes. They specifically mentioned the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning to process this vast amount of data
Okay.
and deliver what they believe is a much higher level of value to their clients.
Right.
For instance, they might use AI to identify subtle patterns of bias in hiring data that wouldn't be apparent through traditional statistical methods.
Right, right. Okay, now let's really focus on a particular area that seems to be a significant part of their work.
Okay.
And that is their data collection and analysis related to Black community.
This is really where their expertise truly shines.
Okay.
They emphasize a deep commitment to providing accurate and granular data, specifically on Black people, from over 80 predominantly Black countries across the Caribbean, North America, and Africa.
That's a really extensive geographical scope. And they've been involved in this for quite some time, haven't they?
Indeed, they highlight their long-standing reputation. And this extensive database they specifically built on Canada's Caribbean and African communities. Furthermore, they position themselves as a leading global entity in the collection of labor force data related to Black populations over the last decade.
So they've accumulated a truly substantial body of information then.
Absolutely. They state that they have one of the largest databases covering key areas like workforce participation rates, migration patterns, and various socioeconomic indicators for Black individuals in Canada, the Caribbean, Africa, and other relevant countries globally. They also emphasize their strong connections and collaborations with statistical agencies and data collectors worldwide, which is obviously essential for this kind of large-scale data gathering.
And what kind of data are they collecting? It's not solely about employment numbers, is it?
No, it's a very comprehensive picture. It includes detailed population demographics, in-depth labor force participation data, financial status, a broad range of socioeconomic indicators, and even data related to crime and human trafficking within these communities.
That's a very wide array of factors that they're tracking. And keeping that information current must be a significant undertaking.
They address that directly, explaining that they ensure the data is consistently updated twice a year to maintain its relevance and accuracy. They also emphasize that their data collection methodologies are aligned with international benchmarks. And as we discussed with the UN's 2030 Sustainable Development Goals across all 17 categories, demonstrating a commitment to broader global well-being indicators.
That alignment with the SDGs really underscores their focus on these broader societal factors, doesn't it?
They collect data based on a wide range of UN indicators covering economic factors, demographics, civic engagement, socioeconomic conditions, health indicators, security and safety data, environmental concerns, and energy-related aspects, all specifically focused on Black people in Canada and various developing countries.
And their analysis goes even deeper into specific labor market dynamics, right?
That's correct. They also collect the ILO's key indicators of labor market, or KILM data, in over 60 predominantly Black countries, giving them a very detailed and nuanced understanding of employment trends and the challenges present in those specific labor markets.
And they even provided a specific example of a recent project, if I remember correctly.
Yes, they mentioned a survey they conducted across 28 Caribbean countries for the Pan American Health Organization. This project focused on the migration patterns of health workers. Really illustrating the practical application and the value of their specialized data collection capabilities in addressing real-world issues.
So we have a really solid understanding of who DPBG is and the depth and specificity of the data they collect. Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's delve into some of their research reports. These are the tangible outcomes of all this in-depth data analysis. And they offer some incredibly important insights for us to consider. The first report that really stood out to me was titled Progress or Propaganda, a report card on the racial reckoning.
The key insight from this report is a data-driven assessment, revealing that while some progress has indeed been made since the racial reckoning of 2020, significant discrimination unfortunately persists in various areas, particularly when we look at key economic indicators. DPBG uses hard data to really measure where advancements have occurred, where progress has stalled, and crucially, where systemic issues continue to create inequalities.
It sounds like a very evidence-based look at a really significant societal conversation. Then we have the silent subsidy, how Black workers finance employers' profit. The title itself is quite striking.
It is. And the central finding is quite alarming. According to DPBG's analysis, which utilizes data from Statistics Canada, Black Canadian women have been effectively subsidizing the Canadian labor force by over $5 billion annually for the past 2 decades.
$5 billion every year. How can that be the case?
This substantial silent subsidy arises from persistent systemic pay disparities that are evident across a wide range of industries. What's particularly significant is that this gap in pay remains even after carefully accounting for numerous factors that should legitimately influence compensation.
Okay.
Such as an individual's age, their level of education, how long they've been in their job,
right,
whether they're in a full-time or part-time role, their geographical location, whether they have children the size of the company they work for,
wow,
and even if they are part of a union.
So even when you take into account all these seemingly objective factors that should determine salary, Black Canadian women are still earning significantly less.
Yeah, exactly. The data very strongly suggests that both race and gender continue to play a significant and negative role in determining how Black Canadian women are compensated for their work.
That's a really powerful and troubling conclusion. Moving on to another report, Breaking the Bias, the unseen unemployment crisis for Black workers.
The core insight of this report is that despite ongoing efforts to promote diversity and inclusion, the labor market remains a place of unequal opportunity for Black workers.
Okay.
The report highlights that qualifications, skills, and experience often take a backseat to deeply ingrained systemic bias and discrimination throughout the hiring process.
Yeah.
So the key message is that simply having the right credentials isn't always enough to overcome these persistent barriers.
It suggests that the playing field isn't level no matter how qualified an individual might be.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah.
It really underscores that these often unseen biases continue to create significant obstacles for Black workers trying to secure employment.
Then there's the paycheck penalty, the price of being Black in Canada's workforce. This seems to reinforce some of the themes we've already touched upon.
Yes, this report delves deeper into the very real financial disadvantages faced by Black men and women within the Canadian workforce.
Okay.
It examines the hidden costs associated with their racial identity, where their wages are demonstrably lower, not because of a lack of skills or effort, but simply due to their race.
Yeah.
The report aptly calls this a silent tax on their ambition and potential.
And this isn't isolated to just one or two sectors, is it?
No. The report emphasizes that this paycheck penalty is observed across a wide variety of industries, indicating a systemic issue that is not confined to specific parts of the economy.
Another report focuses on the challenges faced by entrepreneurs, liquidity crisis, the hidden challenges facing Black-owned businesses in Canada. This report shifts our focus to the financial realities encountered by Black entrepreneurs.
While acknowledging their resilience and determination, the key insight here is the significant and often overlooked challenges they face regarding liquidity. In simple terms, having enough cash on hand to cover immediate business needs like payroll or inventory, and critically limited access to debt financing, which is essential for the growth and long-term sustainability of any business.
So despite their drive and ambition, Black-owned businesses are facing fundamental financial disadvantages.
That's the core finding. They often struggle to access the necessary capital to start, expand, and even maintain their operations, which puts them at a significant disadvantage compared to their non-Black counterparts.
Finally, we have this executive summary of contributions and challenges. Black workers and entrepreneurs in Ontario today. Commissioned by the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. This provides a really focused look at a specific region.
It does, and the findings are quite revealing. While Black Ontarians in the workforce have nearly identical levels of educational attainment when compared to their non-Black peers, the report highlights some stark disparities. Black workers are disproportionately employed in lower-paying jobs, are significantly underrepresented in management roles, and in certain fields earn up to 50% less than their white male counterparts, even when they possess advanced degrees.
That is a staggering statistic, a 50% wage gap, despite the same level of education.
It truly highlights the profound impact of systemic barriers. The report also points out that Black women in Ontario often face a double disadvantage, experiencing both racial and gender discrimination within the workplace.
And what did the report find regarding entrepreneurship within Ontario's Black communities?
Well, the survey of over 1,500 Black business owners in Ontario, which the report states is the largest survey of its kind, found that the vast majority are micro-enterprises with relatively low revenue and crucially limited access to capital. This results in a significant income gap, with Black-owned businesses in Ontario earning, on average, over 40% less than white-owned businesses.
Wow.
They also tend to be smaller and younger businesses.
So we see similar challenges around accessing capital that were highlighted in the national report, but with a specific focus on the Ontario context.
Exactly. However, the report does offer a positive note, emphasizing the strong resilience and deep commitment of Black-owned businesses in Ontario to their local communities.
And it puts forward some specific recommendations to address these challenges, doesn't it?
Yes, the report recommends several key solutions, including the development of targeted programs and initiatives, specifically designed to support young Black entrepreneurs, improving access to crucial capital and other vital business resources, and advocating for more equitable procurement practices by both government bodies and private sector organizations. It also suggests initiatives aimed at improving financial literacy within Black communities and building stronger business networks.
So it's a multi-pronged approach involving addressing systemic barriers while also empowering individuals and businesses directly. Considering all of this detailed information, what does this wealth of data tell you about the Canadian and global workforce, especially given DPBG's broader international scope?
What consistently stands out is the undeniable evidence of systemic inequalities and biases that continue to disadvantage Black individuals and communities in both the labor market and in the realm of entrepreneurship. Despite stated progress in some areas, these reports collectively paint a clear picture that race remains a significant determinant of economic outcomes. And DPBG's unique methodology, which looks beyond traditional national borders to analyze data based on shared characteristics, likely uncovers patterns and disparities that traditional country-specific data might very well miss.
It really makes you think about just how deeply embedded these issues are. Does any of this resonate with you, our listener, based on your own understanding and experiences? As we've seen with the stark pay gap figures and the significant hurdles faced by Black entrepreneurs. This isn't just abstract data. It reflects very real-world experiences and systemic issues that have tangible and lasting consequences for individuals and communities.
Absolutely. And by specifically focusing on Black communities and employing this unique data-driven lens, DPBG is providing incredibly valuable insights that can hopefully inform the development of more targeted and ultimately more effective solutions to these persistent inequalities.
So to really bring it all together, DPPG offers a truly unique and in-depth understanding of human capital and labor markets, with a particularly strong focus on collecting and analyzing data related to Black communities across the globe.
That's right.
And their innovative approach, which goes beyond traditional country-based analysis, seems to be uncovering some really significant insights.
Their research reports provide crucial insights into critical and often overlooked issues, such as persistent pay disparities, the ongoing and significant challenges of unemployment and underemployment faced by Black workers, and the substantial barriers that Black entrepreneurs encounter when trying to access capital and achieve equitable economic outcomes.
It certainly provides a lot to reflect on. So for you, our listener, considering the depth and specificity of DPBG's data, what other hidden patterns or societal costs might be revealed through this kind of focused analysis of specific populations and their contributions to the global economy? It really prompts you to consider the broader implications of this kind of data-driven approach and what further insights we might gain into creating a more equitable and prosperous world for everyone.